This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kerche, your favorite referee, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with your favorite referee, Finn Kerche.
What up? Oh, it's so great to hear that intro. I've been listening to that so many times. Yeah, my name is Finn Kerche. I'm referee, mostly known from Scandinavia and from Germany as well. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and on YouTube, just at Finn Kerche. I don't think anyone is taking that name anytime soon, so yeah.
And a TikTok as well.
Yeah, yeah, I have a TikTok. You can follow that as well if you want to. It's a crazy world over there. Yeah, sure. Follow me on TikTok as well.
And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, let's get started. You work for Body Slam Wrestling. Can you tell us about your relationship with the company?
Yeah, sure. I started with Body Slam actually when I was studying. So I'm originally from Germany. I moved to Denmark to study. And I literally had this movie-like scene where I just drove around the city in a bus, and I just saw I can't remember if it was just a small, I think it was just a writing on the wall with just wrestling in Aarhus, it was at that time, but it's the home base of Body Slam. And I was just like, what? And then I just literally Googled wrestling in my area. And then just Body Slam just came up, and I just wrote to them, I think on Instagram, and I was just like, hey, when can I come by? And they're like, yeah, we're having a show literally the day after tomorrow. If you want to come by, you can come by. I was just like, yeah, sure. And I just came by, and I think I never stopped from that time on. And I think that was in 2019, or 2018. So yeah, that's just pretty much how it started. And I started pretty much training just regular as a wrestler, just like everyone does. And we usually have it if you are kind of ready to wrestle but not quite show ready, they usually put you in the show as a ref to just kind of get acclimatized in the ring, just so you're in the ring, and just so maybe I've been in the ring once or twice, and then I was in the ring as the referee. And I can remember after the show, I just came backstage to the two guys that run. I'm just like, hey, you know what? That wrestling thing is nice, but I think I just want to be a referee. This is way more fun. So I was just like, yeah, sure. And then, yeah, since then I've kind of been a referee. I've never had a match on a show. I've had a lot of training matches back in the time. But yeah, I think I just kind of fell in love with it when I did it first time. So
what was kind of that light bulb moment, that first day refereeing, that made you feel like, okay, well, this is what I want to do rather than actually wrestle?
I actually think it was being in the ring and kind of having the overview and having the coordination both beforehand and during the show. And my first match I ever reffed was Michael Finn versus Emeritus. It was kind of like, if you're talking like Scandinavian, especially Danish wrestling, it's probably two of the like top 5 guys. And two of the guys that I've trained with like from day one. And it was just like a match, and like literally like 15 minutes before the match, we were like backstage, the show was going on, and Michael Finn was just coming up to me like, "Hey, can I give you a cutter?" I was just like, "What?" Yeah, after the match, can I just like push you and give you a cutter or whatever? And I was like, "Why?" And he was just like, "Nah, he like that was like after he lost the Body Slam Championship, and he was like going on this Kazuchika Okada style doubting himself because he lost every match kind of streak. So he was just like doubting himself, and after the match I think he had just lost because he just got cocky, and then he lost the match and on like a roll up, and he just started pushing me on like, "Oh, what are you doing? Why are you counting? Well, you should have. That was a fast count. That was a fast count. That was two. And he just kept pushing me. And it was just like he looked at me and just kept pushing me, shouting at me, and just like, "Go back a step." I was just like, "What?" Yeah, just while shouting at me, "Go back a step." I just like went back, and he just gave me a cutter, and it was the perfect cutter. I've never taken a cutter better than that. So at that moment, I was just like, "Oh, this is so fun."
And I mean, first day on the job, and you're already taking bumps now.
Yeah, that was kind of always like from the start. It was always like, because I had trained at that point for like I think 9 months to a year, so I had no problem with it, especially with like the easy bumps. I had no problem, and but at the same time, like I knew my limits. I was like, I'm not gonna. At that point, I could do like a 5-minute training match, whatever, but I knew that I couldn't do like a 20-minute match. It was just out of reach. And I think that at that point it was just like, oh, this is great, because also in other stuff like my work stuff and studying, I always like organizing, and as a ref you have way more like chances to also be backstage and helping organize the whole stuff. So I always just enjoyed that, pretty much. And yeah, taking bumps on the first day of the job, it's kind of been the MO since then. I like taking bumps, and the guys like bumping me as well. So that's.
What's the craziest bump you've taken so far as a referee?
I think I have two interests. The bump that looked the craziest and the bump that felt the craziest, if that makes sense. Like, yes. The first main event I reffed, I think it was definitely in Aalborg. It was Skrån Slam. I'm not quite sure if it was 2021. I think it was. The main event was for the Body Slam Championship. It was Peter Olisander against Scotty Davis. And yeah, and he has that great heel kick that he does, where he just stands on his foot and he just like spins like a fidget spinner. I don't know how he does it. And it was like, yeah, and at this point I'm just gonna stand by Peter Olisander, who's like the great cold leader heel.
Right. And
they were just like, yeah, we're gonna do this in the spot beforehand, and just stand beside Peter Olisander, and he's just gonna pull you in the way. And I'll do my heel kick, because when he does his heel kick, he like kind of turns away, so he can't see me for like a second. And I was like, yeah, but if you can't see me, are you sure that you're about to hit me? Like, but I didn't say it like that. But I was like, yeah, sure. If you say you can make it, I'll try my best and take it. I'll just throw myself in the way and just hit me. Like, I don't care. And he was like, yeah, sure. And then we did it, and it felt like, for me personally, like I just got pulled into the way, and I just saw his heel coming, and I just closed my eyes. I couldn't watch. And then as you get trained, you take like your opposite hand to like protect your face. And my feeling at that moment was that my hand was like like 2 yards away from my face, and then it just looked awful. Like, and I just collapsed there, and then like they woke me up, and I counted the pin after Peter already said I cheated and everything. And I was like, my head was just like, oh damn, that was the worst. And like I couldn't handle myself. And I came backstage, and everyone was like behind the curtain because it was the main event. And they're just like, "Are you okay? Are you okay? That looked horrible." And I was just like, "Yeah, I know it looked horrible." And he's like, "No, it looked like he literally decapitated you. Like it looked great." I was like, "Are you sure we're talking about the same spot?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I looked at it. I don't know how I did it. It's crazy. And like he literally just touched my hand. It didn't touch my face whatsoever. And that's like the bump that looked the greatest. And then we have an Absalon show, which is like a old church in Copenhagen, where we do once a year, we do an all women's show. And Aliss Ink, who was also both our Body Slam women's and Body Slam champion this year, we had it like, I think it was the first week of April this year. And the main event was just like, it was Aliss Ink against Kerche, and they came up to me like, "Hey, are you okay with taking bumps?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, sure, it's the main event, whatever." How many bumps?
Oh no!
I was like, what? Yeah, how many bumps can you take? Why? I don't know. We're just trying some crazy stuff, and just making sure. And I was just like, I don't really care how many, but just make it look. I don't know. Just tell me what to do. I'll do it. I ended up taking like, I think 5. I think like 5 bumps in that match. And it was just like, it started with like a kick where I just rolled to the outside, and then 2 dives. Kerche was like they were both outside, and then Aliss was supposed to like hold me, and then Kerche was supposed to roll in, dive on me, and then Aliss did the same spot, rolled in and dived on me again. Where they just like the other one just evaded and then just like pulled me into the way each time, just like after each other. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And Kerche did it. Like Kerche did the first dive, and I like had to step like a whole step into it because she was pretty short on the jump. It was fine. It looked good, but it was like, okay, she was pretty short. So when Aliss comes, I'm gonna take a step towards the ring. Just in case, because Kerche was pretty sure, I'm pretty sure Aliss is going to be short as well. And Aliss is the fastest person I know. And I don't know why I didn't see this coming. And in her best Braun Breaker, like, thing, she just ran the ropes at like 50 kilometers an hour. And I just saw her diving towards me. And I was like, oh no. And for everyone that doesn't know Aliss Ink, she's like 4'5" maybe. And sorry, Aliss, maybe 5 foot, maybe 5 foot. She really isn't tall. And I was like, she can't jump that far. She definitely can. So like she just dived. I mean, the dive looked normal on tape, but she like clocked me in the face with the forearm, like just. Entirely. She didn't knock me out, but it's just like she was so high that she like her head like literally landed on my shoulder, and I had to like take a step backwards and just fall backwards, just not to like give her like the best Kurt Angle belly to belly suplex. So I just had to like launch myself backwards into the crowd. I was just like, there was no like chairs and stuff. I was just like, I just have to launch myself backward and hope no one's there. And that just looked like a regular dive on tape. Like you can't see it that it went awry, but it's just like, oh, that just felt bad. But I always like it because like it just gives you the trust from the wrestlers, and they're like, hey, I can trust you with this. It's usually like towards the finish, so it's usually like the wrestlers just saying, hey, it's really important that you do this, but we trust you with it. And that's just like, as a ref, that's just the biggest compliment you can get pretty much.
Oh yeah. I think you might have a little less faith in Aliss now.
Yeah, it's a feud. It's fine. Like we have a camera guy, Anas Almby, shout out to you, and he has a feud running with Gabriel Faust because he pretty much makes sure to hit him at least once in each match. And I think with Aliss, it's just the same thing. Like with us. It's just like it's a friendly feud. We've known each other since like 2020, 2021, whatever. And it's just like a friendly thing where it's just like it's a full-blown feud from now on. That I try to protect all the referees from Aliss Ink.
All right.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a match at some point. I'm just gonna take bumps.
You're just gonna take bumps.
Yeah.
No offense.
It's the ref logic. As soon as you put the shirt on and you get hit once, you gotta lay down for like 5 minutes. So.
But, right. But is that something you'd be interested in doing down the line? Actually compete and be a wrestler, or at least just have a match?
I'm not sure. Like if it would be fun, but it's like I'm not I'm not actively training like weekly or something right now. So I know that there are like on the Body Slam roster alone, there are like 30 other people that are way better than I am. And I'm not about like putting myself over, so it's totally fine. Like I like being in the ring, and I love all of that, but I don't need to be like on the card unless it would make sense in some way. But I just don't see that making sense soon-ish. So maybe if I like would get the chance, sure. But I'm always just like with the bumps. I'm always like, does it make sense? It's like the first question when somebody asks me like, can you take this bump? I'm like, okay, why do you need the bump? Because if it's just like the second match on the card and just like a bump to just kind of have a bump, like you don't really need it. And I think that's the same way with the match. Like if it would be necessary, yes, but like if it's not necessary, it's totally fine not to get the match.
No, and I get that. And that's actually a really great way of looking at it. Not a lot of referees would object to do a bump, just to, make the wrestlers happy. But, it has to make sense to you in order to do it, which is, it's a really good thing, honestly.
Yeah, it's also like, I think, because I usually manage the referees on our shows as well. So you usually have at least one more referee. Usually we have 2 or 3 like on the bigger shows. And also if there's someone like going up to me, like the wrestlers know as well. Like if you are the second match on the card with like, unless it's like a crazy match where it's like a TLC match or whatever, where it's like, okay, we could actually use a bump to like further this crazy thing. But if it's just like a regular, I don't know, tag team match, second match on the card, like the wrestlers know not to bump unless it makes sense, unless it's like part of a story. So it's especially for the wrestlers that we have on our shows, they usually don't, but you always have this 1 or 2 times where it's like, and I just got to them like, yeah, but are you sure you need the bump? Like, I want a bump for you, sure, but we have maybe 2 matches later, I'm supposed to ref again. And that's just part of continuity. Like, if I get beat up so bad that like I just lay on the floor for like 5 minutes, I can't just be up and just normally counting like 10 minutes after in the second match. So
right.
That's just like a managed thing. And if it makes sense, it makes sense, but we have enough clever people at Body Slam and also at the other promotions that I've worked that it's usually doesn't happen.
Now you also mentioned doing the backstage stuff. Obviously pro wrestling, maybe on the back burner unless Aliss Ink keeps diving on you. Is the other more behind the scenes things, the production, the booking, the things of that nature interest you?
Yeah, I've just always been that kind of dude that like just likes to help keep things running, and I've just always been with the attitude just like wanting to help keep the show running, and whatever helps most, I'm gonna do that. Like I have had shows where it's just like we actually have like 2 other referees, but we actually have no one that's gonna sell merch. So I'm just gonna send in the merch table because I'm more valuable down at the merch table for this show than I am in the ring actually. So that's just kind of my approach to it, and I'm going to like the UK for the first time, like over All In, weekend. Like I'm gonna be there the week before and the week after All In, just because there are a lot of shows during that time. And I've literally like written with a lot of promotions where I was just like, I am a referee, but I'm like willing to do anything. If you need someone like security helping to build the rings, whatever, ring crew, I'm totally fine with that. I just want to be like part of the show. And people are always like, if anyone's out there that's listening to this and just like wants to get into wrestling, just literally write to your local indie and just be like, hey, I just want to help out. You don't need to train if you don't want to. Like, there's always people that need ring crew. Like, most of the people are not paid that are, if you're in the ring, you're probably getting paid. Like, most of the people don't get paid. It's like the backbone of the independent wrestling community is people just like giving it their free time and being there, and everyone's just always thankful if people want to give their time.
Now, you correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're currently living in Germany.
Yeah.
So how do you, and obviously Body Slam is in Denmark. Is that a long journey, or is it, how's it work going between, Germany and going back and forward?
Yeah, that's pretty, like, if I would go out of my door right now, I'd be in Denmark in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So it's I don't live far from the border, so it's fine. Like for the shows in Copenhagen, which we usually have, it's usually like a 3-hour train drive, and I just use that time to like scout and just like do everything that I need for the show, and just like calm down. Like the longest drive I can have is like a 3.5-hour drive if it's inside Denmark. Like, Denmark is a small country, and you can drive freely between Germany and Denmark. It's both part of the EU, so it's like if it's a really bad like northern Jylland, just small town in the north, then it's maybe 3.5 hours with the car. But otherwise, it's like a 3-hour train drive max. So it's always pretty. And then because I'm a guy that like has a car and comes from further away, I'm usually the guy that picks guys up from the airport. So if there's any indie wrestler that's come from the UK or any other place and had to be picked up at the airport, it's usually me.
Michael Oku?
No, I haven't picked him up from the airport. No, it's because if it's in Copenhagen, I usually don't have my car with me, and he's only been on, I think, has he been on a show?
Yeah,
he must have.
I believe he wrestled
he must
Peter.
have. Yeah, you're right. But that was like, I think, first of all, I don't think I was on that show.
Okay.
There was like a couple of months where I took off. I think it was like when I as soon as I saw that post, I was like, oh no, why am I missing this one? But it's like, it was like family obligation. I was just like, oh, God damn it. But it's like always like that. We really have had for the last, like, I'm gonna say like 2 years, especially, we've had like a broader roster that isn't just Denmark and Sweden, which is usually like where we take all of our, like, we have our own trained people, which actually are a lot on the roster. Like, if you look at our roster from Body Slam, like regular people, there are like 15 to 20 people that have trained in Body Slam and also get booked like other places. It's just not, because there are a lot of indie promotions where you have wrestlers that only wrestle for the promotion,
right.
And that's usually great. Like, they just don't want to do anything else, whatever. But we really have like, I think like 10, 15 other people that regularly get booked down in like Germany and in other Danish promotions now, because we just have I think a really good pool of talent. And in Scandinavia, it's also like we help each other out. Like, if you look at Body Slam, or if you look like Nordic Elite Wrestling and all these Swedish promotions, the roster is going to be pretty similar. Like, there are always going to be some guys that only this promotion has, or only this promotion has, and the story, of course, are different. But we kind of help each other out, and we travel to each of these shows. and there's not a lot of like bad blood between the promotions. So.
And that's great because having interviewed people from other countries that are from opposite companies, it does get competitive.
Yeah, and especially like in Denmark, we're now down to like 3 wrestling promotions, and that's not a lot. So everybody knows each other. Like if you've been to like 6 or 7 shows, you basically know everyone in Denmark. Of course, as I said, there are going to be some people that only get booked here and only get booked there, but you know everybody. So it's like, it's easy to have like grudges and everything. And that, of course, that does happen. Like there are some people that just don't want to wrestle for the other league or whatever. But I've been to like other countries and I've seen other where it's way worse. Where it's like you have these 2 promotions and people that work for promotion A can't work for promotion B.
Right.
And that's not like that at all. Like the people that do NEW also wrestle for us, and the other way around as well. So, and in Sweden as well, like between Denmark and Sweden, it's really great, and in Norway as well. Like we have had some of the referees actually from Norway travel down to our shows, and I also plan on going up there as well. But it's just great. Like under this like Scandi Grabs banner, I think it's just really helped doing it internationally. As I said, we have a lot of people from outside. Like Sunshine Machine have been regular at all of our bigger shows for like the past 2 years. So I don't know how many like car rides I've had with TK Cooper and Chuck Member. It's a lot. a lot. And if you've driven car with Chuck Member, you know what you've done. That's a car ride you don't forget.
It sounds like one too many.
No, definitely not. Like every car ride with them is great. It's always great fun. And yeah, but yeah, that's part of the business, I guess.
Well, you might have not driven with Michael Oku, but you definitely refereed for Sue Young. What was it like being in the ring with the undead bride?
Ooh, yes, it was. I think that's one of the things that's like fun, because I like to act in the ring. Like I'm not gonna be the ref. I'm gonna say it without sounding weird. I'm not gonna usually be the ref that you don't notice. Let's say it that way. Like I always wanna, like, if I can add to a match, I want to. So also before the matches, like if there's people that I don't know and haven't worked with, like Sue Young, I just go backstage and I was just like, hey, is there anything you need me to do? Is there anything you want me to do? Anything about your character that is important to you? And she was just like, yeah, of course I'm the undead bride and stuff. Like, if you can sell that in some way that I'm scary, do that. And I was just like, yeah, in wrestling you have a lot of scary, okay, not maybe as scary as Sue Young, but like you have a lot of scary characters. So I know how to do that. And I was like, she did her entrance, she had like I think it was the SOS title with her, like the SOS Island something rules match we had, and it was like a triple threat where you have one very undead person and then 2 just like other, I'm just gonna say like regular sounds like it's a bad thing, but no, just like earthly characters.
Very much alive characters.
Yeah, very, very much not undead characters, and it's a weird thing where you need to suspend your disbelief, but as a wrestler and as a referee as well, you have to kind of guide the people. So it's not like why is that person like in a bloody like wedding dress? Like what's that all about?
Right.
And just so I kind of like did the whole thing like, oh, please don't come close to me. And as soon as she entered into the ring and went to one of the corners, I just sprinted to the other corner. And just like I just tried to sell that she's like scary, and but not like doing the Scooby-Doo, oh no, what am I doing? But it's like doing it in an earthly way, but trying to like keep the respect. And that was actually, I'm not trying to break kayfabe, but she's very sweet and gentle behind the scenes. And she came like after the match. I just went backstage because I didn't have the next match, and she was like, "Oh, that was so great, and thank you for selling me, and that was really good." And I was like, "Oh, that's when you know, okay, if the wrestlers actively come to you and like, hey, that was a good job, then you know that you did something to add to it as well." And that's what I try to do, like if it's necessary. And I think for a character like that, it is necessary, because otherwise there are some people in the audience that are just not gonna like feel that type of thing. So yeah, but I love that part. Like if I can be part of it, but only if I can add to it. So yeah. But that was interesting, definitely. But it's like that's the moments that you kind of are there for, like working with a person that has pretty much worked all around the world, like held championships all around the world.
Oh yeah.
It just those are just the greatest things. Like I had a crazy story with Speedball Mike Bailey once, and
well, now you gotta tell it.
Yeah, I think, but it's just like those are the people that you learn the most from. Yeah, Speedball Mike Bailey was on a show like I think 2 years ago, and it was one of the first shows where I was on. Like I was a ref. I'm not quite sure if it may have been my first show I had. I will have to go back because we've had so many shows at the Pumperhuset. I'm not quite sure, like a standard venue in Copenhagen. But it was one of my first where I didn't have his match. I really wanted to, but I didn't have that match, and it's totally fine. And afterwards, we were like down at the merch table, and as I said, I usually help down at the merch table as well. There was like before we had a person that does this, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna be the merch table, and it was both Mike Bailey and Vader Scott there.
Oh yeah.
And for some reason, the guys from the venue thought it would be really fun to have some carnival games inside of this lobby, which is like 200 square feet at the most.
Oh no.
It's like, wouldn't it be fun if we have like drunk people that have been at the show for like 3 to 4 hours and have done nothing else? Like if you know, especially the Copenhagen crowd, it's usually like very much like half of the crowd is pretty much like stag do kind of vibes. Like people just drinking before they go into the city because our show is usually up at like 10 or 11 p.m. So they're drinking. But it's a great crowd. So, but yeah. And then they had this carnival game, I'm not sure what you call it, where you have this huge hammer and you have this pedestal and you try to get the thing to go up and ring the bell.
The test of strength.
Yeah, sure. Test of strength. And it said, hey, we don't actually have that much space, so why don't we just put it right at the door where the merch table is? So me, Vader Scott, and Speedball Mike Bailey stood at that table 2 feet away from drunk people swinging a hammer and having that bell ring. That there was no one from the venue standing there to administer this, so people were just hammering on that thing, and we just had that bell ring next to us like every 2 seconds for like 30 minutes. And it was just like we were just like, and they were talking to like the wrestlers, and I was like kind of taking the money, and we were just looking at each other like, I'm so close to like just like taking that hammer. And then we basically, when one group left, we just basically took the hammer and just hit it under our table. And then just so people couldn't hit that test of strength, which ended with people just going up and just hitting it with the hand. It didn't work. It ended up like after 30 minutes, we basically went to the venue guys and just like, can you please do anything to stop that? And they were like, why? But it's fun. I was like, yeah, it's fun for you, but it's not fun for us. Like, there are drunk people just swinging our hammer in our faces. It's really not that fun.
Right.
So that, yeah, I'm not sure if Speedball or Vader remember that, or if they're scarred for life just like I am. But if every time I see that test of strength, I am scarred for life.
It's funny enough. I went to a meet and greet to see Dean Ambrose when he was still a part of the Shield. And they had a test of strength right next to where the meet and greet was. Dean, I don't want to say that he was drunk, but he definitely seemed hungover. And when we talking to him, and all of a sudden, ding, and you know, like when a cat, like when it arches its back.
Yeah.
And it's like all the hairs on its back stand up. That was literally Dean Ambrose, John Moxley in that moment.
It's just like it really gets on your nerves.
Yes.
Like it's a sound you can't ignore. Like for a good reason. Like that carnival game is made so you look for that tone, and it has to be like chilling through every brain, like every fiber of your being. But it's like if there's nobody administering that, and I don't know, I've seen this a lot of places where it's just like, hey, some fun carnival games, but it's always the carnival games where people hit something. Also with like the boxing like thing and everything, it's just like, why do you keep doing this next to wrestling things?
Right.
It horrifies us. Just please stop. If anybody that has like a venue, please stop doing that. Just please keep the carnival things on the carnival. Thank you.
Now, being a referee, you are the third man in the ring. Anything could happen during a match. Has there been any audibles you've had to call in the ring?
Definitely, yeah. It's kind of part of the thing, and especially if you have, in Bodyslam we've had our fair share of crazy matches that I have been lucky to be in the ring for. Like I've refereed a death match, a tag team TLC match, and all of the above. And it's because usually like the Scandinavian crowd, especially if we're outside of Copenhagen, you're usually going to have like 80% of people that haven't been there before, been to a wrestling show before. So usually you have like a brawl crowd, like just a brawl in the crowd, just to get the people into it, be close to them. And this didn't, we had a match where it was, let me think, it was a tag team title 3-way. And we definitely had Ranas Pena, our current tag team champions. Did we? And it was definitely a 3-way tag match, whatever. And one of the, like, that match went, I think, 20 minutes. And because it was a triple threat, there's obviously, like, no rules. So, like, a ladder gets introduced, like, right at the start. Like, 2 minutes, not 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes into that match. I can remember that it's Hunyadi Tamas in the ring, and he gets hip tossed onto this ladder that's like in the corner, and that is like buckled up on the mid turnbuckle.
Okay.
And as soon as he hits that ladder, the entire mid turnbuckle just implodes.
Oh no.
Like not the rope like going off the hook, like the steel ring that is welded onto the steel post broke off.
Oh wow.
Because Hunyadi Tamas is like, I'm pretty sure he's going to say a different number, but I would say he's 100 kilos, and he just took a hip toss onto this ladder. What I didn't know at that point is that his tag team partner, Robert Starr, was hurt, like really, really hurt. I mean, as I said, like 2 minutes before that, they did like an outside brawl, and I think it was the guys from Ranas Pena put his like head into the garbage can, and just like took like one of these plastic beer mugs and just like hit him with it, just like stuff you do when you like brawl outside.
Right.
And like they did a drop kick to him or anything, like, but he hit his shoulder on this trash can, and it just dislocated his shoulder.
Oh no.
And so they called an audible like in the ring. I didn't I just know that he was kind of hurt, but I didn't know if he was gonna be able to continue and stuff. So they basically tied him to the rope, so he could be like, oh, I can't move, like just have Hunyadi be like the underdog that loses in the end, but it's totally fine. And they did that, and they tied him to the rope, and 2 minutes after the rope explodes. So now he's like, oh no, what do I do now? Because he was just freed, and he's like, oh, but I can't do anything. So he's just like in the ring, and he just can't do anything. He can't really move. And he was just like, I think he takes another like beating and just get beat up. And I was just like, oh no, what are you gonna do? Because Robert Starr and Thomas are our tag team champions at that point. They're gonna lose the titles. Like, I know that. But now one of those people is not there. Right. I was just like, oh no. But I know that the finish is going to be like in 20 minutes. I know that it's going to be like Emilian Lewis runs in from backstage and tries to cheat on their part. So I just like, oh no, I just go down to Robert. Are you able to continue? And he's just like, no, I can't feel my shoulder. I can't do anything. It was like, okay, so I just sprint. Like, I leave the match. Like, which is pretty bad because if there's any pinning attempt now, I'm not there. So I just go out the ring, sprint backstage, right behind the curtain, just Emilian Lewis just stands there and just waiting for his cue. And I was just like, run out there now. And he's like, but that's not my cue. And I was just like, I don't care. Run out there now. Like, Robert Starr is down. Thomas is our heel that is working underdog right now. It's really weird. Just like, run out there, figure it out. And Emilian Lewis is great. Like, he's the Nordic Elite Wrestling like heavyweight champion right now. But he was just like, he looked at me like, what? I was like, just run out there. Like, we had like Sunshine Machine in this match as well. Like, there are some pros out there. You'll figure it out. Just run out there. Just be there. And it was like the weirdest. Like, for 2 minutes, they were just like doing this, which the fans enjoyed. This just like fake brawling and trying to figure out what the hell do we do now? And it was just like, in the match, we just talked a lot during that match. And yeah, it was just like hanging on by a thread, but we like figured out, like, they changed titles. It was what it needed to be in the end, but it was like, it was chaotic.
It was quite the journey to get there.
It was, because it's just like everything went wrong. Like, a guy gets hurt, and you can work around a guy being hurt. Like, if it's in a heel team, it's worse. But then like the middle rope breaks, and there were just like some spots where they definitely needed the middle rope. So it was just. But if you have, that's a good thing where you get like, for me also as a referee, where I feel safe, where I know there are people in this match that I trust. And Sunshine Machine was in that match, and I was like, those two have done everything. Like, if there are two guys that can figure this out, it's them. It's fine. Like, I trust them. They're going to figure it out. But I need to be there to be like, hey, because the wrestler just can't leave and get Emilian. And Emilian doesn't know it because he's backstage. He doesn't know what's going on. So I knew at that point, okay, I have to run backstage and just get somebody. And that was kind of the like essence of it. But that just went awry, and we figured it out. It was a great match, like, but it was the rest. I'm not quite sure if it was the main event or not. I think it was, because I can't remember like wrestling without a middle rope for the rest of the night, but it was like, it was chaotic, to say the least. And then we also had a death match. I think also, like, all these death matches, TLC matches, it's not so much like, it's not a normal referee thing. It's basically you're the medic in the match.
Right.
And I've had a lot of people, like, I've had Metehan down there, and who used to work with NXT UK, and he had like a thing where he like landed on his head. And he was just like, and we talked, like, I think it was his match against, I can't remember against who. It doesn't matter. And he was just like, yeah, but it's like, it was like 2 minutes until the finish. And he just landed on his head, and he was just like, yeah, just give me a minute. Like, he was like laying down from a big move, and he was just like, yeah, everything is kind of dizzy, but I can continue. Just like give me a minute. And I was walking up to his opponent, just like, hey, just take care of him. He's feeling like kind of dizzy. Just like brawl with him or whatever. Just give him a minute. And the other opponent was like, yeah, sure. And then they did that, but they had to go to the finish. Oh yeah, it was Carlos Zamora. Now I remember it was actually a title match.
Okay.
And for those of you that have not seen Carlos Zamora, his finish is he has people in the electric chair position, and then lifts them up and gives them a German suplex from like above his head.
Yeah, I know what you're
So it's
talking
like it's basically like an electric chair, but he tosses them up beforehand and catches them into a German suplex, which is, if you have landed on your head, not the best move to take.
when you're dizzy.
Yeah. And I was just like, are you sure you want to do that finish? And Carlos Zamora is like, if he's up to it, and Mitten is up, yeah, sure. I was just like, okay, whatever. But it's going to be wrestlers. Like, they're going to do their shit. But in that point, it was like, okay, I know, like, he has been in NXT. He's been doing this for 10 years. He knows his body. But there are a lot of people that have too much eagerness, and where you kind of have to protect them from themselves.
Right.
And just be like, you are not doing anything. So I've had one of those where I literally had to tell someone, you are not doing anything. You are sitting down and you're waiting for the match to finish. And I can't remember what it was, like a 6-man tag, like an outdoor festival kind of stuff. And then it's a yearly show that we do for a club that's kind of a brewery, but also like a bar, and like they always have an anniversary, and they always book us, and they have a rock concert, and they have us as wrestling, just like being there. And then the main event, we just like, they celebrated, they had some kind of new menu, whatever. They had some new meat that they wanted to produce, and it was like,
Okay.
we're just gonna call this like a sausage scramble or whatever. Basically just like a hardcore match with like sausages and meat flying everywhere.
Okay then.
It sounds weird. It was weird. But it was like, wouldn't it be funny if we had like sausages and hit each other with it, and one of the guys started to bleed from the sausage? Just like acting like this was a really cruel weapon. Just like a fun stuff. And it was like, no, we have to at least do a chair shot. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then we did those kind of stuff, but like one of the guys, Eric Sable, gets hit with a chair and rolls to the outside and does a blade job. Like, for those of the guys that don't know, you get kind of a razor blade, you tape it, and you hit it in your wrist tape.
Right.
And then you like take it out during the match when no one's looking, and like you just basically take the razor blade and just like do 1 or 2 scars in your top of the head. So he does this, and as the referee, it's usually my job to like take the blade after he's done and put it away, just so he doesn't have it on him, he can't get hurt, and I usually have pockets where I can put them, so nobody walks on them, nobody trips on them, whatever.
Right.
So he does the blade job, he gives me the blade, he doesn't bleed whatsoever.
Okay.
Like there's no bleed, there's no blood coming whatsoever. And Emeritus is in the match as well. He tries to like just give him a little bit of pressure on the wound, but it just won't open up. And then he goes back to me, can you give me the blade again? I was just like, are you sure? That's not a good idea. And he's like, yeah, sure. I was like, okay, give him the blade again. I've never seen a person bleed that much in my entire life.
Oh no.
Like the entire canvas was red. There are pictures from that on his page where it's just like his best Becky Lynch becoming the man standing in the crowd with a broken nose impression. His entire face, we still to this day have some side canvases with his blood on it, and it's like 2 years ago. I've never seen anybody bleed that much in my entire life. Like he did, because he knew he's going to bleed, he took like some blood thinners before, so he bleeds more. like I've never seen a person bleed that much. And in that match, he was like, "No, I have to take this button." I was like, "No, you're sitting down in this corner. I'm holding you down. You are staying right here. Like you are not moving a single inch because even though you think you can, you definitely can't. You've lost way too much blood, like way too much blood." And yeah, that's how the sausage scramble went.
Okay then.
Yeah.
Definitely not expecting a bloodbath at the sausage scramble.
Definitely not. It was just like a fun, like outside, like no one that's there has ever seen wrestling before. They're just there for like the entertainment, and he goes out there and bleeds like a pig for like 10 minutes. Like, and we had some two of the fans were like medics, so they helped us out because it was just like a small show, so we didn't have any medics like at hand. So I just basically like taped him up so he could go to the nearest hospital. It was weird.
All right. Now,
But the new meat they had was great. It tasted really good.
well, at least you got to try it.
Yeah. I tried some meat that didn't have all that blood on it, so
Yes.
that was great.
All right. Being a referee, do you prefer the stripes or the button up with the bow tie?
Me personally, I like the stripes. I think it really depends. Like I've been a referee in Wrestle Cult in Germany, like a German promotion, and they have like what do you call it? Just like a button-up shirt, but it's not like with a bow tie or anything. It's just like they have their own like totally black polo shirts with just like a referee name on it, and that looked great as well. But I think it has to fit. Like I've seen some promotions do like instead of black and white, they do like black and yellow stripes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that distracts from the fact. It's just like it's weird. Like I like having a distinguished look. Like if you have the button up with a bow tie or whatever, I'm up to wearing whatever. As long as it like makes sense to wear it. Like the more classical approach where you have like the nice shoes and you have the button up, you have the bow tie. It's a classical look, but I just like the stripes a little bit more. I think it adds to like the fight feel. Because in all the other sport, like I don't know if it's okay, normal football, it's not American football, whatever you want to call it. Like they have it there. They have it in usually the most fighting sports. Like if somebody sees those stripes, it doesn't matter how much sport they watch, they know that's the referee.
Right.
And especially for like the smaller shows, I like to have that on. Just like being that, like usually we have like a little body slam sticker on that or whatever. But I like the classical stripes. You can never be wrong with that. With the like button up and bow tie, you have to have it look good.
Right.
So yeah. And don't get me started on referees in cargo shorts. I've seen those, and I can understand it because it's usually like backyard or wrestling where it's like we don't have a referee. Can you do it? But like, come on.
Well, what about referees with man buns?
Hey, I can pull that off. Stop that. Yeah, like if you look at my Instagram page, most of the recent pictures are from that Absalon show that I talked about, where I took like these 5 different spots from Aliss Ink and Kanji.
Right.
And it was like a couple months before I had like, you know what? I think I'm gonna grow up my hair. Like I'm gonna keep it short at the sides and in the back, but like the main hair on top is gonna be long. And there is that medium period for anyone that's ever tried to grow out their hair. It's like that medium period where you don't know what to do with it. It's too long to like have it stand normally, but it's too short to have up in a man bun or just like a regular thing. So that show came at that exact time for me, where it was like, I can't just have it with hair gel and just have it up because my hairs are getting too long, so it's gonna be like in my face, and especially like hair gel in the ring, you're just gonna sweat and it's gonna come into your eye. It's just bad. But the hair was too long, so it would just go into my eye all the time. So I had, it was actually my first ever show. It was like, I just have some just hair ties, and I had everything, like clips. I had everything under the earth to like pull up my hair, and that was like the best thing I could get. Like right now, it's like, it's been 4 months, so my hair is grown, and I can definitely pull up a classic ponytail now. But at that point, I had like a weird man bun that kind of, and if I look back at the pictures now, it's just like, I really tried to pull that off, didn't I? Yeah, it was kind of a weird look. I gotta admit, yeah, that was weird.
Hey, you were pulling it off.
Yeah, and that was actually the show that I was like, I had chance in the main event for me.
Right.
It was crazy. It was like the first time ever that people unsarcastically chanted my name. And I think part of it was that weird man bun with a pink hair tie. I think that was part of it. And also, like, at that show, my referee's shirt, I pulled it out of my like bag, and I just saw a major, just like a big hole in it. I was just like, oh no. And then we had like Mess, who also does our ring introduction sometimes, but it's also a referee. I was like, hey, can I have yours? And he was like, yeah, sure, because he was only supposed to do ring introduction at that show. I was the only referee on that show. So I had his, like, I had his referee shirt, which is kind of, it has a zipper that goes like from like chest height, like up, so you can zip it up. But that zipper has been broken for like 5 years. So that is just like, if you don't have any shirt under it, you're just like exposing half of your chest. And I normally like wear just like a white shirt underneath, which I also did for that show. But that like combination of having a man bun that I could definitely not pull off, with a pink hair tie, and that referee shirt that was unzipped, it was a weird, like, it was definitely like a big city Copenhagen experience, where just like you look at that person, just like, that person is definitely not straight. Like, there is no chance that person is straight walking around like that. It was just like, he's definitely from the big city, walking around like that. So yeah, I tried that. But as I said, I have a ponytail now. It looks good. I went over that 3 or 4 month phase where you just kind of look weird.
Right.
I got over that phase.
All right, so you're ready for the next show.
I am definitely ready. I'm so ready to also for the UK tour. I'm so ready with a classic ponytail.
Oh yeah. All right. You've already given us some incredible stories, but it's time for Finn's bizarre adventure. You're in the pro wrestling world, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Yeah, I definitely can. Like being the driver that usually gets the guys from the airport, you wait a lot of times. Like, because if we have some people from like Germany, from the UK coming in, whatever, and they don't arrive with the same flight usually. It's usually like 2 or 3 flights, so you have to wait a lot of time. So I've been in the airport a lot of times with like people that didn't like, they wanted to try some Danish hot dogs, and they try them just like, is this it? But the funniest story we had.
Why is there blood on this?
Again, please.
Why is there blood on this?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm trying to sell them regular hot dogs. No, but we had last year in January, we had a big crossover show with WXW, with Extreme Wrestling from Germany, which is, I would pretty sure to assume, like outside of the UK, pretty much the biggest wrestling promotion in Europe.
Arguably, yes.
Yeah. And it's the wrestling promotion that got me into indie wrestling, like in 2018. So for me, that was a really big deal. And the promoter from Body Slam was like, "Hey, can you get them on the way up?" And I was just like, "Yeah, how many people are coming?" And it was like 7. Just like, my car isn't that big. So I had to like lend like a 9-seater just to get them. And it was fine. Like I rented it. I got the money back, of course. Like I rented it and I drove up to the airport. Like they came with like 2 different flights or whatever. And it was like a lot of the people like I love to watch, like and that I've watched for the longest time. Like Arrows of Hungary, where their Maggot was there, Baby Allison was there, Robert Dreiske was with them as well. I'm not quite sure. There are like 1 or 2 people. Oh yeah, Ahura was there as well. It was a weird mixture, but like the big city Frankfurt guys with like Maggot and Ahura and Allison, and then you had the 2 big Hungarian guys and Robert Dreiske. It was a weird mixture, but yeah. Long story short, the show was done at like 11 p.m. I think, and we usually do it like we get the hotel right at the airport. So I drive them out to the airport, and the next day they can literally just like wake up, go to the airport, and be there, so they don't have to travel in the morning, which is usually like what the wrestlers prefer. But that show wasn't in Copenhagen, where like it's just a 20-30 minute drive with the metro. There was an Aalborg, and they all flew from Billund, which is an hour and a half drive.
Okay.
So it was 11 p.m. after the show, and I was just like, I'm not picking down the ring, which I usually like pretty much always do. I'm driving those guys because I have to drive them for an hour and a half and then have a 2-hour drive home.
Right.
And I'm tired. I just want to be there. And it was like, yeah, sure. I took them after the show. It was wild. Everyone was like sleeping, and in the front I think it was Icarus. Just like we were just having the best heavy metal music. It was a great trip. Like Hungarian heavy metal. I definitely got educated on that day. But I get them up at the airport. Like they get their rooms, and there's one room that is designated for a name that I'm not going to say, but a name that no one from that bus tour had. Like there was a name just like, oh yeah, it's Body Slam, it's this name. I was just like, what? No one's called that. Like no one in management is called that. None of the wrestlers called that. Why? And it was the real life name of Aliss Ink.
Okay.
Which I didn't know at that point. I didn't know her real name, and I don't know if it's out there, so I'm not going to say it. But she drove with a different car, but I didn't know that. So we had a room we didn't know anybody. We didn't know anybody that would take that room. We figured it out. It was fine. Like it took like 10 minutes, but we figured it out. And then I drove home. I literally had to pull up like on the roadside and take a 30-minute nap. I was like, nothing was working. I don't drink coffee. I drank coffee that night because it was just like energy drinks, whatever. Nothing was working. I was so tired. So I pulled up on the roadside, slept, and I got woken up by somebody knocking on my window. And if you are sleeping in the car at midnight and somebody bangs on the window, you get extremely uncomfortable extremely fast.
Yeah.
It was just like, and you wake up and you don't know where you're at. Like you're in a car that you don't own and don't know. You're in a place like in the middle of nowhere that you don't know, and somebody's just randomly knocking on your door. And just like the kindest man and woman just walked up to the car and they just want to make sure that I was okay. Because I just saw this car like roadside and somebody like sleeping, and then they weren't sure if I was sleeping or not. Like they were just, and I was like, I've never been so awake as in that moment. Like I was so scared for my life for like 2 seconds. because you wake up in the
Right.
middle of the night roadside and you just look out the window and just like two strangers looking at you, horrified because they don't know if you're dead or not. So I drive home after that. It's fine. Like I was awake. From that point on, I could drive. So I went home. The day there was the show was on a Saturday. I get the car back, and on the Monday I get a call, like from the rental place. What the hell did you do with our car? I was like, oh no, what the hell do we do with that car? And I was just like, nothing. Like I got it, and I'm pretty sure I took some photos before and after just to be sure, like that they don't try to rip us off and stuff. And they were like, there's a hole. I was like, what? Yeah, there's a hole in the side. Like, what do you mean a hole? And they sent me a picture because it's a 9-seater. So you have the front door and you have the like slide door to get into the back seat.
Right.
And there's a step up into that back seat, which is like a plastic step. There was like a 10-inch hole in that plastic. It was just missing. And I was like, what happened? And they were like, we don't know. You tell us. And I was like, I don't know. But some of the guy, I don't know who it was. I to this day, I don't know who it was. But somebody from WXW still owes me 200 euros for those repairs.
All right, so we'll leaving off on a mystery.
Yeah, I don't. It was like a great true crime story.
Next time on Wrestling Wit.
Oh, and since we're here, Ahura still owes me €5 for McDonald's. He still doesn't give me that back because he only had like euros and they wouldn't take euros, so they had to pay like in crowns, and he didn't have any. So he still owes me €5 for chicken nuggets.
Okay, if you're listening, give him his
I'm
damn
just
money.
I'm laying everything out there. Like he knows. I was in 16 Carat this year, and I saw him, and I told him, and he was like, and everyone that knows Ahura, he's like, he's a sneaky dude, and he's like, yeah, I'm going back to the dressing room, I'm gonna get it, and he never came out. So he knows he owes me $5. I'm just putting it out there.
Well,
I want the peer pressure to get to him.
Well, there's a reason to put the wrestling tights on.
Yeah, maybe. Me versus Allison versus Ahura.
Yes.
Yeah.
Winner gets the €5.
Who gets the €5? And Aliss Ink is just gonna dive on Ahura 20 times.
Yes.
That's like the new punishment in Body Slam.
All right. Aside of pro wrestling, you maybe not be a wrestler, but you are an American footballer, correct?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they had American football in Germany. So how did that come about?
I'm just crazy like that. Like I play football or soccer or whatever you want to call it. Like I've done that since I was 5, and I just try every other sport, like wrestling. I've done tennis, basketball, whatever. And I've been a huge basketball fan since I was like, I think like since 2016 or something like that. Like I watched basketball, like the NBA primarily, and then I got into like American football as well, which was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I just knew that they had a local team which was pretty successful at a point. Like the top flight in Germany is not on the level of college football. Like it's fine. They have some guys that like did play in college, and they have some really good footballers that go to like the ELF, like the big European league, or go to the NFL or whatever. But like I play in the 6th division, so it's not like anything great. But it's just like, and I think I just like pain. Like, like I do wrestling and American football, which are pretty much just the two sports that you get hurt in the most. Like we had a game last Sunday, and today, like we are recording this on a Thursday. I couldn't move for like 3 days. I was on painkillers for 3 days because my back was just killed. But yeah, I tried that as well. So I've tried a lot of things. Like if you search far enough on my Instagram or TikTok, you see that I try a lot of things. So yeah, follow me there.
Well, maybe not physically. Maybe it doesn't hurt physically, but can you tell us about your love of Fortnite?
It's a hate-love relationship. It's more hate than love. Like I like everyone, I was just bored in the pandemic, and I just played Fortnite for way too many hours. And I kind of laid that aside at a point. I was just like, it's fine. I don't need this anymore. Like I've never been big into like shooter games, so it was just like it's fine. I don't need this anymore. But my little sister, she's 11 years younger than me. She's 16 right now, and I lived with my parents for like a year, like I think last year or the year before that. And she was just like, "Oh, I also wanna like game a little bit. What game can we play?" She's like, "I heard Fortnite," and I literally had like Vietnam flashbacks. It was. I looked at her, please don't. And she was like, "No, I played with my like boyfriend yesterday. It was really fun." I was just like, "Oh no." And since then, I lost her to Fortnite as well. So.
Well, what is your go-to skin?
I have the weirdest skin. Like I don't buy things in game. I just have a very adamant belief that if you buy a game, even if it's free, you should be able to play it and you shouldn't buy anything. So I never buy skins. The skin that I use, I can describe it as box head. It's literally like just an Amazon package on the head of a guy.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Yes, that one. I got that in like, I think it's season 1 or season 2, where you just kind of get it if you like win a match or whatever, and I've used that one ever since.
Okay.
Like ever for like the past, I don't know what it's been, like pandemic years, like 40, but it's probably like 3 years. I don't know how long Fortnite's been out. Like it feels like it's been there forever, but at the same time it can't. When did Fortnite come out? Like 2018?
I think so. 2017, 2018, I want to say.
Yeah. I think pretty much just like since I started playing it, I pretty much use that skin. But I haven't played it for like half a year, I think. So I think Fortnite has definitely won that battle against me. Definitely.
Well, you do have a Twitch stream. What are you playing currently?
Right now, I'm not anymore. Like I've had a break from like Twitch for like a year or so.
Okay.
But I play regularly. Like I always was like a big PlayStation gamer. Have been like forever. Like I got the PS1 and I still have the PS1, the PS2, PS3, and PS4.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get the PS5, but like I played PS4 for like a long time. And then I went into the like Twitch game and I started streaming and I got a lot of friends through streaming, but I was like streaming from a laptop, like a 5-year-old laptop. That wasn't a gaming laptop or anything. I streamed from that. It was like I watched the first streams back recently. It was horrible. Like it's bad. Like you know that from doing interviews. If you listen to your first stuff, it's bad. Yeah, your first content that you put out, it's bad. And like if you know anything about Twitch, like a big part of Twitch is like it's called raided. Like where just another viewer is done with the stream and they send all their viewers over to you. And I had my second stream on Twitch ever, and I didn't know what I was doing. And then somebody raided, and you have like usually on Twitch, if you don't know what you're doing, if you have viewers at all, you have like 2 viewers, maybe 3. And somebody raided me with like 200 and something viewers.
Wow.
And I didn't know what a raid was. I was like, okay. And I didn't know the gamer that did that. And it was just a weird scenario. Like I didn't have it figured out at that point. And yeah. But to get back to your question, I usually play like manager games pretty much. I like Football Manager. I also like playing any sort of like sport game where you can just manage stuff.
Okay.
So that's usually me. Like the shooter games is not big for me, or like action games. It's either like building games, management games, or it's like horror games. Just like story-based things.
I gotcha. Alright, could you tell us if there's any meaning behind your tattoos?
Actually I'm up to 4 tattoos now. And I try to get my left arm covered. So that's the goal. The first tattoo I ever got is like and it's pretty much I got the catchphrase from like, I think personally, big wrestling opinion coming, the best feud that anyone ever did in wrestling, which is CM Punk against MJF. It's the greatest story I've ever seen live. It's great. But I basically have the old catchphrase from CM Punk when he was still in Ring of Honor. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Okay. That is like my lower arm is just covered with that. And I pretty much got that from that point because I also had some mental struggles at the point, and it just kind of fit. I don't know. I heard that catchphrase and it just resonated with me. So that's just like the first tattoo I ever got.
Okay.
Then below that, I have 2 cherries in a cereal bowl, which is as weird as it sounds. But my name is like Kerche, which is like it's been my nickname for like ever since I can remember. And Kerche is the German name for cherry.
Okay.
And my sister's nickname is the German word for cereal. So I just had cherries in a cereal bowl because that's just kind of us.
Okay.
And then, my entire shoulder is covered in the Body Slam logo. But instead of Body Slam, it says Scandi Grabs.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm just going to do the Body Slam logo because those are the guys that like got me back into wrestling, and I owe a lot of, like, some of my best friends for Body Slam. But I was like, if next year they're just like, you know what, we're just going to rebrand. And I was just like, if I have a tattoo of like a wrestling lead that has a different name, it's weird. So I chose Scandi Grabs because it's like a more timeless thing,
right,
which I think is just going to keep on. So yeah, my entire shoulder is covered in that. And then I have below that, I actually just got it like a couple of weeks ago. It's like the Assassin's Creed crest.
Okay.
And then it's Requiescat in Pace, which is like Latin for rest in peace, which is like the like first games with Ezio, and that was kind of the first gaming franchise that I really played that got me into gaming. So yeah, I did that as well, and I'm trying to get my arm covered as soon as possible. So
what's the next tattoo you have in mind getting?
I'm not pretty sure. I think I want some like tribal runes on my like lower arm, but it's not quite sure. Like I have a tattoo artist that is great, and I just go to her with like, I have this idea. What do you think? And she's just like, yeah, sure. And then we just like figure it out. It's great. Like we've really become good friends. She's great, and yeah. So I'm not quite sure. Like the first 3 tattoos I was pretty much set on from the beginning. And then Assassin's Creed stuff just kind of came in. I made an appointment, and she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. I just want a tattoo. I know where I want it. I know how big I want it to be, but I don't know what to do. And then like a week before, I had this idea. I was just like, yeah, sure, let's do that.
What's your favorite Assassin's Creed game?
Oh, putting me on the spot here. It's either Assassin's Creed 2 or Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I think.
And did you play Mirage?
No, I actually didn't. Like the newer games, I didn't. Like I played everything. I think I played the first like 7 or 8 games, and then I just kind of stopped. I don't know what it's called. The one that plays in the French Revolution, the second one.
Liberation.
Yes, that game was so bad that I didn't want to play any more Assassin's Creed. I was just like, I played that game I bought it full price, like $60, $70, whatever it was. I bought it, I played it for an hour and a half, and I never touched it ever since. I never touched it again. I was just like, no, I can't do this.
And I get
But
that.
I recently got the Valhalla, the place in the Nordic god time things, and that was pretty good. I think I played maybe 10 hours or something like that. I didn't play through, but that was pretty fun again. But I like the basic games. I have the Ezio collection, was I think the first 3 or 4 games, just in a pack.
Yeah.
We just get them for €10. They kind of up the graphics a little bit, but that's it. And yeah, I play those regularly. It's my comfort game. I just go back to it once a year, and then I lock myself into my own apartment for 2 days and just play it through. And that's it.
Well, part 2 could definitely be a grind.
It definitely can, but I like those games where you don't have one story, one path you can go down.
Right.
You can explore Assassin's Creed is one of the first 3D open world games where you could really explore everything. And that was what I loved about Black Flag at that point, where you can just it's like Pirates of the Caribbean but Assassin's Creed. And you just have a ship and you can just sail with the ship and just attack random pirates and stuff. It's great. Just shooting cannons at random boats to just drive by, it's great.
Well, you should definitely play Syndicate. That was the one after Liberation, the French Revolution, which was the UK one. And I thought that was a really underappreciated one. And I think it just doesn't get enough love because Liberty was so bad.
Yeah, I think that's just the thing with those. Of course, Assassin's Creed, it's with any movie franchise, game franchise, it's tough to do things over and over and over again before milk it. And I just think with Liberation, Assassin's Creed just kind of got to that point where everyone just jumped off and just nah, we don't really care anymore.
It definitely had nothing to do with people's faces just disappearing for no reason.
Yeah, it was weird. The first games, they had some problems as well. It was charming in a way. In the first games, you can literally slaughter people on the marketplace and then just jump up 2 feet and the guards can't see you anymore. And just stand there and you just literally 2 feet away from them and they can't see you because you're elevated.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
And Mirage was actually a really good game. It went back to part 1. It kind of has that feel of the original Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those games, especially if you go to Black Flag and I think it was Assassin's Creed 3 that played in the American Revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think especially those games, you can just pick them up at a GameStop or whatever and just play them. But if you've played the other games, you get a lot of throwback to other games, and you get actually, just with wrestling storylines, they get a lot of notches to other games where just you get some rewards if you've been around for a longer time. And that's what I really appreciate about the Assassin's Creed franchise, which I also appreciate about the wrestling storyline. Just keeping it everyone can come in and be a part of it, but also having notches to your loyal viewers as well.
Now, can you tell us about your love of Fritz Cola?
Yeah, I actually have one right beside me right now. For anyone that doesn't know Fritz Cola, it's just like Coca-Cola. It's just like a cola, but it's from Germany. It gets produced in Hamburg, and it has I think 50% of the sugar of Coca-Cola and stuff like that, but has way more caffeine, twice as much. It's barely like a cola. It's more in the option energy drink, but it tastes great. And I have to say that. No, I got I made some. I had my TikTok era. I'm gonna say that. I had a year and a half where I posted 2 to 3 TikToks a day. So if you really have some time and want to see some bad content, just go to my TikTok and just scroll back. And I did some videos, I didn't have anything in mind, but I just took some videos where I just had the Fritz Cola in the videos. Like, it wasn't a big part of it. It was just kind of there. But I liked it, and it just kind of became, also when I streamed on Twitch, it kind of became my thing that I just love Fritz Cola. And then they came out with like a new, I can't remember what it was. It was like I think it was the Super Zero, which is like, it's zero, it doesn't have any sugar, but it doesn't taste like zero. It just tastes like the normal cola it actually does. And just did a random review of it. And then I got a message from Fritz Cola directly. And if you go to my Instagram, we're still friends on Instagram to this day. And I still get messages from them from time to time. And and just like, hey, thanks for that. Here's a like €50 gift card for our shop.
Wow.
And it just, yeah, it was just like, hey, thanks for making content about it. We really appreciate it. And I was just like, oh, thank you. I just get like a €50 gift card from them for their shop, and I got like a college jacket, which I still use to this day. Is my go-to jacket. It's just like a black and white college jacket with like the Fritz Cola logo and some merch thing on it. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think ever since then it's been like my go-to. It also like in Body Slam, like they don't really sell it, and you can get it in Denmark, but it's like really like underground, just like the hipster cafes have it, but not anymore like that. And a lot of wrestlers have come up to me, hey, can you get me some Fritz Cola? I actually want to try it. So I'm always trying to get anybody onto Fritz Cola, and I always have at least like 1 or 2 bottles anywhere nearby.
Okay.
Like I don't drink coffee. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. It sounds like a CM Punk promo from 2009, but it's definitely not. The only, like, you have to have something in life, and I have Fritz Cola. That's my thing.
And I have Coca-Cola.
Yeah. I had that before as well. Like, Fritz Cola is one of those things where you just like taste it the first time, and I was just like, meh, it's not Coca-Cola. Like, I used to be that as well. I didn't like Pepsi. I didn't like other things. I was Coca-Cola always. And then I tasted Fritz Cola at a friend's house, and I was just like, meh. Like, it has something, but I don't know what it is. And it sounds weird, but it just tastes more like cola because it doesn't have that much sugar. It just takes more. If I say it tastes more cokey, it sounds weird. But you know what I mean, right?
Yes, I got what you mean. No, what I mean is I actually, as we're conducting this interview, I have a Coca-Cola by me right now, drinking it.
Yeah, I have a Fritz Cola as well. But I just didn't want to drink it right now because I was afraid that I was just going to burp the entire time. So I held back. I'm just watching my Fritz Cola so I can drink it as soon as we get off.
Okay. I mean, if you'd like to drink it while we do this, you're more than welcome.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I can wait. It's like a reward.
Well, it's time for the colossal question. Let's say that they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh, that's just a crazy question. It definitely has to be some OG Eminem.
Okay.
Like, that was my jam, and I always go back to it. I think like yeah, it definitely has to be some OG. I mean, I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm one of those guys that's like, no, it's actually not a Lose Yourself. I like the other stuff a little bit more. Have you actually listened to his album? I'm that kind of guy for Eminem. So yeah, I think like Without You, I would definitely put on there.
Okay.
Then I have a Danish band that's called Minds of 99.
Okay.
Which is like, it's weird. Like, they do some Danish. They also do some music in English, but it's called postmodern pop. It just like, it sounds like the most of them of their songs are like kind of dark and kind of more like down to earth and slow, and it just sounds like every time you have a guitar or something, it just like pitches it. I love it. It's weird. But I think they have a song called Soul Kong, which is like the King of the Sun.
Okay.
That would definitely be on there. And just to throw something random in here, as a shout out to the best wrestling song ever, and I'm gonna stand by that to the day that I am not on this earth any longer. I'm not quite sure if it's the original, but the last soundtrack that Christian had in WWE. Just like Close Your Eyes. If you close your eyes, that's the greatest song. The greatest wrestling song ever written. That, definitely.
The original by Bulletproof Blondes or the second version?
Yes. No, the original one.
Okay.
It's either that or the Evolution soundtrack. The OG one as well.
Oh, Motorhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Solid picks, to say the least. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays Finn? And you can't say yourself because you are legally obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Ooh, I'm gonna do a cameo. Yeah. I have to go back to my favorite cinematography ever, which is the OG Sherlock series. It's the greatest piece of television films that was ever made. And just think Benedict Cumberbatch is just one of the greatest actors ever.
Hell yeah.
I think either him or Joaquin Phoenix, because he can just play anyone.
This is true.
It's just like you give that man like 6 months and he's just gonna starve himself to near death on the North Pole to prepare himself, and just shows up and he just like every time I've seen Joaquin Phoenix, I'm pretty sure that's not what he looks like. I'm always like he's got to be in some kind of role. I don't know what he looks like. Like I'm not sure. Every time I see him, I'm just like he doesn't look like that. It's just weird. Yeah, it's either Benedict Cumberbatch or Joaquin Phoenix, one of those.
Okay. And every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people significant to you and your story, and who would play them?
Ooh. Damn. My sister is definitely in there. She has to be in there.
Okay.
Who is she played by? That's a good question. Like, if I could get Emma Watson from like the first couple Harry Potter films.
Okay.
Just like a person that is very kind but very annoying. That kind of like I think she can pull that off.
Okay.
That's definitely like a top of the list. Then the boring answer would be my parents, but that's just a boring answer. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with Michael Finn.
Okay.
He's gonna be in that film. Like, from all the guys like I've been in with wrestling, apart from Emeritus, who always also is like our coach, I think Michael Finn has just been the guy that's like taught me the most. And I just got like I haven't spent the most of times with him, but every time I'm with him, we just get along great. And he just like wrestling is. I have a lot of hobbies. Like American football is my hobby, gaming is my hobby, but wrestling is like my passion. It's just like I don't know what happens in my life. I'm never ever again gonna get away from wrestling, and I think Michael Finn is just a big part of that because he just like really got my passion going there again. Who's he getting played by? I think he's just gonna play himself because he's really just a good actor as well. He's a like paid full-time actor as well. He does music and he acts as well and stuff like that. So I think he's just gonna play himself.
That's fine. I'll accept that answer.
Yeah, he's an actor, so that's fine. Who's the? Yeah, I think you also in every movie you have to have a big villain, so Aliss Ink has to be in there.
Okay.
It's just like the big villain. Who could play Aliss Ink? Who's really? Ooh. Nah. Who's psychotic? A psychotic women's actor.
That's like 50% of the actresses.
Yeah, sure. Can I say Amber Heard?
Yes.
I don't think I can. Okay, yeah, Amber Heard
Okay.
plays Alice Ink. Just because I know she's gonna do a horrible job.
All right. Well, this is sounding like a great movie, a blockbuster to say the least, and you could pre-order the tickets now.
Yeah, I wouldn't go, but yeah.
It's his story. And
Yeah,
you
to be honest,
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix or Benedict Cumberbatch can probably pull that off.
Yes.
Like, sure. I'm gonna be there just to see them, honestly.
Now on to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Yes, always yes, 1,000 times yes. Please give it to me, always.
Okay, so very pro pineapple.
Yes, I think just to be honest, just I can understand. I have a lot of Italian friends as well who cry every time I say that, and it's fine. I like to make people cry, but just put on pizza whatever you want. Like, and if you are ever in Denmark, they love to put toppings on everything. Like, if you have bread, there's 10 topics on that because they just put everything on it, and they do the same with pizza. Like, they have some weird mixes where it's just like they're just gonna put salad on there and then some dressing, and that's their pizza. And I was like, what? That's not pizza. And I was like, yeah, it is. It's weird, but I'm just a big advocate for just everything you like, and I think pizza is like it's a really like heavy thing to eat. And pineapple just gives it that sweetness and that delightful sweetness that you don't get from many things you can put on pizza. So definitely 100% yes.
Okay. What's your spirit Pokemon?
Geodude.
Oh yeah.
Always has been, always will. It's just, and every time someone asks me why Geodude, it's a rock with the biceps. That's it. Like, he's just a cool dude, Geodude. I watched the like OG, like the Indigo League Pokemon stuff, and he's like in the, I think Brock enters like in the second episode or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just see him and just like, yes, that's the one. I get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we love the late great Tracy Smothers. Do you know the acronym for Doug? THUG.
I actually don't.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a Doug can't spell.
Damn. That's great. I love that.
Now, weirdest match you'll be asked, the weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever referee a match with a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
Yes, definitely. 100%. Like I have pitched, you probably know Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan.
Yes.
I have pitched that so many times. I just want to do like I love like weird. I love wrestling that is weird. I think wrestling is great because you have a lot of mixtures of styles. You can have like a 5-star classic. You can have like the weird acting things, and I always like if people come up to me with like weird ideas. My first response isn't no. My first response is okay. How can we make this work? So I'm definitely gonna pick. Yeah, sure.
Well, just for context, there's a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a
Psycho
tungsten,
Mike.
in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Yes. I also want to very much proclaim my love for Psycho Mike. He is one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen live.
Oh,
like, the live experience of watching Psycho Mike is crazy. Like, it was just small detour. Last year I was at 16 Karat Gold, like the big wrestling tournament from WXW. And he was like they have like for an entire weekend, they have like 9 shows. They have the 3 big shows and then they have some other. And he was on the smaller shows. And he was part of a like 6-man tag. And as I said, the thing is called 16 Karat Gold because it's a 16-man tournament.
Right.
And he body slammed a person 16 times in a row without breaking eye contact with the camera. It was the greatest thing ever. Like the person that took, I can't remember who took it. I seriously can't. The person just got dizzy, and like you could see, like after body slam number 6 or 7, they couldn't stand up. So Psycho Mike, he's like, I don't know, he's like 6'10", probably like 250. I don't know. He's huge, and he just like picked him up, like, nope, you're going down again, and just without breaking eye contact. He's great. I love him.
Yeah, that sounds like Mike.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, definitely still in the wrestling ring somewhere, definitely. And I don't know how it will turn out because I'm a big proponent of not planning your life, just like going what life gives you. If I ever had the chance to go to the US and just like do some matches, like this is the first time, as I said, overall, and I'm just gonna go to the UK for like 2 weeks, and I'm just gonna pretty much take all the bookings that I can. And my plan is also to do that for the US at some point and stuff like that. So if I can do this wrestling stuff full time, I definitely will. If I can't, it's fine. I'll definitely always be a part of wrestling.
Okay.
As long as I can. In 5 years, maybe we're just gonna have another interview then.
Well, maybe we'll talk before then, for sure.
Yeah, and then I can talk about the time that I wrestled a rock.
And when you had a triumphant victory over Aliss Ink.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the rock and just gonna smash her head in.
And now, since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Oh no.
This is our speed round, or bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
I'm not sure. Yeah, sure.
Greatest wrestler of all time.
Bryan Danielson.
Worst wrestler.
Titus. What is his name now? What's his face? The former NWA champion.
Oh, Tyrus.
What's his face? Tyrus. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
Him.
I will accept that answer. You're refereeing the main event of WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who are the 2 combatants?
If I could pick anybody, does it have to be WWE, or can I just pick anyone?
Anybody you want, alive, dead,
Okay.
past, present.
Will Ospreay versus Speedball Mike Bailey.
Okay. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Yeah, let's just take the Christian theme again.
Fair enough.
I love that. I love that song. Yeah.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Funny to play around with.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
Vegetable.
It is indeed a fruit.
Huh.
Yes, it has seeds. Tomato logic.
Damn.
Yes, but you are part of Squash Squad, and that means a hell of a lot more.
And the squash is also the description of what I'm going to do to Aliss Ink when I get my fingers on it. So, yeah.
He's coming for you, Alice.
Yeah, I am.
New Japan wrestler Tai Chi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
To be honest with him, I don't care. Just less is more.
Okay, so to each their own.
Yeah.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
No. I definitely want to, now that you say it.
And that's the correct answer. And if you do actually do it, take a video of it and please give it to me.
Yeah, just like going like Jehovah's Witness. Hey, do you want to talk about our Lord and Savior Darby Allin? Or just hurl myself into people like Darby Allin does. That will be fun as well.
Yes. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. And once again, where can we find all things Finn on social media?
Yeah, if you just have Finn Kerche pretty much everywhere, I think I have that name. TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube as well. So if you want to swing by, and also swing by Body Slam if you're ever in the vicinity of Copenhagen or anywhere near that. We have our Scandi Grabs Invitational, our yearly tournament on the August 31st. So if you want to swing by, definitely more than welcome.
Do you have merchandise?
I don't, no.
Okay.
And I really don't want to.
I get that.
Yeah.
Alright, well, you don't have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all his social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give him a damn follow.
And follow Aliss Ink only to unfollow her again. I'm pushing this feud.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Andrew Cass, on Wednesday Johnny Pierce, and join us every Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews. Follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Dread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Sure.
For our special guest Finn Kerche, Kaliko Yachts, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.